Welcome back to Facilitation Fridays. I'm Kalani, your host and teacher here at World Drum Club. As some of you know, I am a board-certified music therapist. And if you're not sure what music therapy is, you can look it up, go to the American Music Therapy Association website, or if you're international, go to you can go to the American Music Therapy Association. But if you're watching internationally around the world, well, we all are around the world, aren't we? If you're not in America, you can check for music therapy where you are. But the American Music Therapy Association website's a good source to learn about music therapy, musictherapy.org. I want to talk to you a little bit about facilitation and the use of humor and how to manage or balance humor used in facilitation. In this case, therapy. I know a lot of you aren't doing therapy with people, but anytime we work with a group or even an individual, we need to be sensitive. We need to make sure we're appropriate. We need to make sure we're ethical, especially when money is involved and especially when we're dealing with people that are in a treatment kind of environment or what we call clinical services. So I want to tell you a little story about what happened today during one of my sessions. So I see a group of people with traumatic brain injury once a week at a facility. And today I was waiting because I get there early. I was waiting, I was set up, I was in the room, and I'm kind of playing ukulele a little bit, just getting warmed up. And the clients come in, and there was one client who sometimes he's not in a great mood, but sometimes he is. Usually he loves coming to music therapy, and when he's in music therapy, his mood elevates, it rises, and I've been told by the other caregivers there that he is different, in music therapy and different after music therapy, which is great. I love to hear that because I want to make the job of my colleagues, the other types of therapists, I want to make their job easier. And I also want my clients to, of course, enjoy therapy. They don't have to, as long as it's beneficial. But, since we're doing music, we'd like to think it's enjoyable. At any rate, this one client's coming in. Now, you have to understand that we're familiar. I know this particular client, and happens to be a male, and most of my clients there are men. And I do joke around with my clients sometimes, and I use that as, well, it's kind of my personality, but I also use it as a therapeutic tool for different reasons. It's not calculated, but it's just an area where I feel like it's beneficial a lot of time to introduce humor. And that can be physical humor or irony or kind of joking. Now, also, I want to mention that I'm going to get to the story in a second, but I want to set this up. You also have to consider that between men tend to bond over giving each other a hard time. It's actually true. If you think about, I'm not saying all the time, but men tend to give each other a hard time, and that's one of the ways that we bond. It sounds weird, but if it's kind of like if you give a guy a hard time, he gives you a hard time, and you accept that and you laugh about it, it actually brings you closer together. So that's something men do. I don't think, of course there's always exceptions to rules, but I don't think women do that as much. Women tend to be more supportive and bond through listening and talking and telling stories and hearing each other talk about things. Men just give each other a hard time. So when this guy was coming in, I was joking around. When the gentleman was walking in, I said, "Oh my God, not this guy again." And something like that. I said, "Oh, not that guy. Oh my God." And I'm just kidding. But he was not feeling well. He wasn't in a good mood. And he immediately, had one foot in the door, and he just turned around and started walking out. And now I'm like, oh, shoot. I'm, blah. So the therapist that was helping him in said, "Hey, just hang out for a second or have a seat." And he kind of sat outside the room, and I went out to talk to him. Of course, it doesn't always work. I thought I could get away with that, or it would kind of lighten the mood, or he'd give me a hard time back or something. So I was kind of throwing this gesture out there. it didn't sit well, which is okay. So I went out and said, "Hey, what's going on?" He said, "I'm just not feeling well." I wanted to listen and let him know that I'm there, of course. And I said, "Well, you feel better often in music therapy, so why don't you come in?" And he said, I've just been finding out that there's a lot of things wrong with me." And then I said, jokingly, "Oh, so you're married too?" And I actually got a smile out of him with that one. I saw a little crack in the grumpiness and the bad mood, but I said, "Hey, you don't have to do anything. You can just come in and sit, and you might change your mind, but just come and join the group if you don't mind." And he did. He came in because he knows, he was just not in a good mood. Sometimes you're not in a good mood, and so my strategy was, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because it's not always about trying to get people to do things. Sometimes we just need to let people be the way they are and the way they're feeling, and at least acknowledge it, but just ask them to just be present. If somebody can even put themselves in the environment, then that's a great start. And then from there, we hope that their mood will change and things will soften and they might feel better. So I had a couple other gentlemen in the session, and I started with some gentle music, and I always encourage people to move, and I'm singing a song, and I'm teaching the song, and the guys are singing along, and I've got to say that I was surprised that this one gentleman, I would love to tell you that, then he, like 5 minutes later, he's making music, and he's participating, and he's doing all these things, and it totally changed. That's not what happened. He sat there. He was very withdrawn. His affect was flat or muted. His body language was very closed. He's sitting kind of like this and kind of slouching. And I saw little indications that he was kind of participating or listening because I saw his hands moving, with the beat. But he wasn't in the mood. He wasn't feeling well. He was not in the mood. I did extend a couple opportunities to him, which is another way to facilitate, just to, extend a hand, like offer something. I think I offered something for him to play. I leave some spaces to be filled, like, for example, singing a song but leaving off the last word. And that's a strategy we use called making space, or presenting a melody to be completed or a phrase to be completed, thinking that he might take the opportunity. He didn't. So he was there. It didn't get worse, but he really, he wasn't into it. I still think him showing up and him being there was awesome, given the way he felt. And after the session, at the end of the session, and he did not participate the entire time. However, at the end, I went up to him and I said, "Hey, you know what? Thanks for being here. I know you're not feeling well, and that's okay. It sucks. Sometimes people don't feel well, but I hope you feel better next time." And I just kind of put my hand on his back, and I said, "I just, hope you feel better." And he said, "Thank you." And we left it at that. And so that's what happened today. I hope this is helpful, because I feel like a lot of the time, especially in music, we feel like our job is to get people to do things and participate and be happy. And sometimes people don't feel happy. Sometimes they're just not in the mood. They don't feel good. They've got too many things they're thinking about. And sometimes we just need to let them be present, let them be in the space, but not make what's happening with them wrong. Not say, "Oh, don't be in a bad mood." That's not helpful. But there's this kind of, in our culture, there's this sort of attitude like, cheer up, like, "Oh, we're doing music, you should do this or do that." And I don't ever want to pressure anybody to do anything. I don't think that feels good. I don't like that when people, try to cheer me up. If I don't want to be cheered up, sometimes you don't want to be cheered up. And rather than try to take somebody into a different place from where they are, what I'm saying to you all is, acknowledge where they are, make where they are okay, because we all have different emotions. We all have different, ups and downs. Don't make it wrong. try to just hold some space for them and accommodate them. Right? That's my message for you all. If you can relate to that, either as a participant or as a, I'll just say music leader, music facilitator, whether you're a teacher, recreational music facilitator, music therapist, whatever you do in music, or you're a parent, or you're a child of a parent and you're doing music with them, if you can relate to this on either side of it, I'd love to know your thoughts. I'd like to know if you feel like you have some advice you'd like to share with our World Drum Club community. Anything you want to share, kind comments, of course, are always welcome. Hey, I really appreciate you guys tuning into the channel. I hope this is helpful. I enjoy bringing this information. As I've said 1,000 million times, please consider supporting the channel at patreon.com/Kalani. I'll see you soon. Have a wonderful day, wonderful week. Keep making great music with people. Thanks for watching.